Hey everybody, it's your good buddy 650 Eve here, and today I'm going to hop on my BMW R 1250 GS Adventure and take it for a cruise. Haven't been on this bike in a while, been on my sport bikes mainly, but this is definitely one of my favorite motorcycles. And I am so glad that I finally decided to buy one about a year ago after giving it some thought over the past few years. Now, the GS is celebrating 40 years of production, and as you know, it spawned the complete adventure motorcycle segment, which is really thriving right now. So I'm going to jump on this bike and tell you how I feel about it. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you're already a subscriber, tap that bell, and you'll get notified when new content is uploaded. I must admit, it took me a while to finally throw my leg around an R1250 GS, but once I did, it was love at first ride, because this bike can do mainly almost everything that my super sport bikes could do, but this one does it in comfort, and I can be exposed to elements. It's got ports for my heated gear, you know, and it's got an amazing sound from that boxer engine. Just sounds absolutely outstanding. So I have almost as much fun on this thing as I do on my super sport machines. I plan on taking this out west to California to do some canyon carving. Because this thing is just so much fun. So much fun. And the folks give me grief a lot because I don't really take this thing off-road, but for me, canyon carving, highway cruising, that's mainly what I use my GS for. I took it off-road once, got filthy, rode it through some water, all that jazz. Wasn't a lot of fun for me. You know, when you buy a motorcycle, you can use it for whatever you want. And for me, this thing is great for canyon carving and long distance travel. When I go out to see some of my 650 Ebe folks and stuff, you know? This is the type of bike you can ride, oh man, a good 600, 700, 800 miles one way, take a break, and if you need to, do it all over again. Because when you arrive at your destination, you won't be overly fatigued, you'll be looking great on this beautiful bike, and you'll be ready for some shenanigans. Because this is somewhat of a hooligan motorcycle. Because the shift cam technology on the 1250 engine is just so great at providing mid-range and low-end power to get this big brute moving that you can't help it but to get a little frisky. All right, photo shoot done. Now we got to go out and do some more riding on this thing because, wow, once you start riding, you don't want to stop your journey. I tell you, if you guys don't know what you're missing, you guys got to try this thing out. Excellent brakes on it too. It's a great all-around bike. And see how quickly it gets up to speed? Well, yeah, not quite as fast as a super sport as a S1000 double R, but still fast enough to get you going when you really want to. So you've heard me babble about and praise this beautiful motorcycle that I've had the privilege of owning for the last year. Let's head on over to Sills and see what Pam has to say. They're closed right now. The master mechanic, Zach, is gone, but I believe Pam is still here. Pam!
Hey, Eve, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
Okay, good to see you.
Nice to see you also.
Hey, you just walked past the latest edition.
What's
Come
that?
on over here.
Oh, look at this big thing.
This thing just rolled off the truck yesterday afternoon.
Wow.
And this is the official launch of the BMW R 18T.
Wow.
Newest addition into BMW's category of different motorcycles.
It is very different, Pam. I will say that. Did I see that correctly? 1,800 cc's.
1,800 cc's, yep.
Wow.
But still in the very familiar Boxer horizontally opposed twin engine.
Okay.
And it is, I think, a really, really nice blend between old tradition and some new styles. The gas tank and the rear section of the frame are styling cues directly off of some of the models that BMW designed and built in the late 20s into the early 30s.
Wow.
And yet then, of course, we have the nice amenities of fuel injection and hydraulic clutches and things, but they also did beautiful things like the LED headlight on it.
Oh, you know I love those.
Yeah, it's really
feel.
sharp.
Yeah.
And nice little details. There's the little BMW inside the bezel.
Oh yeah.
Both up here in the center and then up here on the top.
Oh, that's great.
And then I don't know if you noticed this, open drive shaft.
What the heck's that? Oh, that's what that is. You can see it.
Open
Wow.
drive shaft. So a total blast from the past as far as old antique heritage is concerned. So we're really excited about getting this in. It's going to, of course, some BMW lovers are going to just have to have one of these in their garage,
Yes.
but we're also looking at tapping into some of the customers out of the cruiser market.
So 90 years of being in business, Pam, congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
And especially in this day and age, it's very tough for businesses to sustain themselves. And
It has been a very interesting ride. We have managed to stay, we started out in the 30s, so basically Herman put a shingle out in the middle of the Depression and managed to ride through the Depression. And then, of course, through after World War II, there was a severe shortage of motorcycles. We started out life as an Indian dealer originally, and then after World War II, we took on a variety of the different European brands. And then as time progressed into the 60s, we took Honda on. We took BMW on in 1954.
Oh, wow.
So arguably, we're one or second oldest continuing operating dealers for BMW in the United States. And in Honda, we're probably about the 10th, 11th oldest continuing operating dealer in the United States.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty outstanding.
Yeah.
Throughout the years, what are some of the most significant motorcycles that you've seen come about throughohout the years?
This is just my opinion, and I think that's a real subjective one. You probably ask 50 different people, you're going to get 50 different answers. But you know, in the United States, I would say there's a couple things that stand out in my mind as long as I've been doing this. One of them is Honda's little Z50 and CT70s. And I say that because there's so many people that are my age or a little bit younger, a little bit older, that cut their teeth on motorcycles back in the late 60s when the first Z50 came out into the 70s. And this was our motorcycling experience. We learned how to ride in an off-road riding experience. Once you get a taste of that when you're young, it has a tendency to stay with you for the rest of your life. And you might go to school, go to college or something, but if you really liked it when you were a kid, more than likely you're going to come back to it again. I think the second motorcycle that I would say that is a major game changer in the United States is a Honda Goldwing. When that motorcycle came out in 1975, it was truly the first leader bike that had the capability of really going long distances in an area of comfort and reliability, of course, from a Honda that the other motorcycles did not have at that point. And then in 1980, when they put the fairing and the saddlebags on it and made it an interstate, it was a true touring package. And that changed the motorcycle industry in the United States, because up until that point, there were people that were very adventuresome that would go on an East Coast travel on an unfaired motorcycle, and it was truly an adventure of a lifetime. The Goldwing took the sophistication level so that it was easier for people to do, and they knew that they'd be able to travel 400 miles a day very comfortably, day in, day out, and get to their destination and back. And it opened up the whole touring market, which lasted for several decades, very strong in the industry. And then I think The third bike that I would say would probably be the most important motorcycle in the United States is the BMW GS.
Oh, yeah. One of my favorites. I have one now. I finally jumped ship and got one.
Yeah, you do, and you enjoy it, don't you?
I love it. Love that bike. It's like the Swiss Army knife of bikes. It can do a lot of things well.
That's right, and it's funny because when I got to know you 10 years ago, you were dyed in the wool. You know, if it wasn't a sport bike, it wasn't a motorcycle.
That's right, yep.
But then you took a ride on it, and guess what? Something clicked.
Yep.
The GS is a bike that it too has changed over the years. I remember when it first came out, it was back in 1980, they had a dealer intro at Lime Rock, Connecticut, racetrack. My dad went to the dealer intro and had the opportunity to ride this bike both on the track, and then they had like a little off-road riding obstacle course in the infield at the racetrack.
Yeah.
And he came back and he sat there, he says, wow, he says, this thing is an absolutely fantastic piece of equipment. I don't know who we're going to sell them to, but it's an absolutely fantastic piece of equipment. Yeah. And of course, that was an 800cc, still the boxer engine, but carbureted and things. Yeah. And we sold a couple here and there. And as years went by, it kind of got to be, in this market area, a little bit of a profile of, I called it the midlife crisis go to Alaska bike.
Yeah.
Customer would walk in, they were an avid motorcyclist who had had a variety of different bikes over the years, had done some touring, but they had not made that trip to Alaska. And so they decided that this was going to be their bucket list trip. They were going to take 6 weeks off from work, or they had just retired and they were, you know, this was going to be on their wish list. And they had researched it and decided to get a GS. And so the GS was really the bike that if you're going to go on that trip and get there and back and, you know, work or have to deal with roads that were not necessarily well paved, road construction up in that section of Canada before you get to Alaska back in the 80s and 90s could be really dicey at the time. Yeah. They found that the GS was capable of handling it. And then as the GS progressed, back when it came to the R12 GS in 2005, it's amazing how that particular bike had made its changes and the market had changed, that at least in this area, everything just clicked. And all of a sudden it became the really successful bike that it is today. And it's a tribute because when you look at the GS, I think is of course the original deal. And I'd say that being a BMW dealer, but you look around and there are so many other brands that have taken the adventure bike concept and decided to develop it.
Yes.
And so it's a segment of the industry that didn't really exist 30, 40 years ago, except for the GS. So it was kind of the brand that started a whole different cycle in motorcycling.
Yeah. So what kind of cool things do you have planned for the 90-year celebration?
So we are going to have Celebration 130.
Okay.
Celebration 130 is obviously the sum of 90 years of Sills Motor Sales being in existence and 40 years celebration of the BMW GS.
Okay.
BMW has asked that we put on some kind of event for the fourth quarter of this year to sit there and commemorate when this bike came out.
Okay.
Of course, 2020 being the different year that it is, we had to kind of think out of the box. So what we have come up with is, and this is a pun, we've come up with an adventure in a box. Okay. So what we have is on Saturday, October 3rd, we are going to have our day celebration, and you just need to register, and when you register and you come in that day, you're going to receive a box. Okay. What's going to be in the box is we can't have a celebration without cake, so there's going to be cake and some snacks in there.
Nice.
We have some special BMW and Sills Motor Sales swag that's going to be coming, and then in here also is going to be a riding route instruction sheet.
Oh.
We're going to have a road rally,
okay,
and it's going to be called Where Are We Going and Why Are We Going There? And one of our local area BMW club members, Wally Gingrich, who's the road captain currently, has helped me map this out. And what's going to happen on this adventure is it's going to be about a 75 to 80 mile ride around Northeast Ohio with a variety of different stops. Each one of these stops, there will be a QR code on a light pole or on a mailbox or something close to where we want you to actually stop. And you're going to go over and you can take your phone and flash the QR code. And there's going to be a little box or a little photo or something that's going to pop up, and it's going to tell you what's significant about this stop.
Okay.
every one of the stops has something to do with my employees, or the history of Sills, or one of its prior ownerships in the different generations that have owned the dealership over the years.
Okay.
So that's going to be one component of it. And then in one of these boxes, there will be a golden ticket.
Oh.
The golden ticket, whoever gets that, will have a choice of either getting a 3-day BMW R1250 GS rental in calendar year 2021, so anywhere from April through October, because that's when our rental season is.
Okay.
Or you can get a BMW GS rally jacket for free, no charge.
Those jackets
are
nice.
Yeah, so it's approximately an $800 value.
Yes.
So somebody will be getting that when they open up their box. We will also have in the box, there's going to be a gift card for a local area Northeast Ohio restaurant. We're going to set up that we're going to have an event there. And of course, with the coronavirus, some people are not going to be in their comfort zone to be in a group of people or so. So that's why we're going to do like the gift card approach. So you can use it that day. If you're not comfortable with doing that part of the activities that day, that's fine. You can just have it on Sills and go at another time and enjoy that. And then also we will be having some live entertainment as well. So it's going to be a pretty big day event.
Okay, Pam, final thoughts before we wrap this video up?
In the next couple weeks, there's going to be a lot of planning to get this event off the ground, but
Yes.
I think it's going to be a wonderful thing. And we invite all motorcyclists, whether you have a little Honda or the biggest BMW, and also if the weather is bad, the activities are designed, even though this is two-wheel forward and centric, if you can't make it and the weather's really crappy and Mother Nature doesn't do a good day for us, please come out in your four wheels. And plan to do as much or of little of the box that you would like.
Yes.
It's kind of our way of giving back to the motorcycling community. 90 years I think is a pretty incredible ride. And we wouldn't have been able to do it if it hadn't been the motorcycle community support out there in Northern Ohio. And we appreciate, we've sold motorcycles to generations of the same family. I think that's a tribute to my employees, because I think I've got just a wonderful staff. People come from far and wide to visit Sills Motor Sales because we try to treat customers the way that we would like to be treated. And we all have a genuine passion for motorcycles. None of us got into this business just for the business perspective. We got into it because what motorcycling does to our heart and our soul. And I think that we touch that with a lot of our customers. And so, we'd like to say thank you. And this is our way of having a little bit of celebration. And we'll see you in another 10 years too.
That is awesome, Pam. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Thanks so much.
We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yes, you will. Thanks so much, Pam.
All right, take care.